I think that China in November made an offer to Venezuela when, after that episode, has done a zero rate trade deal at the Shanghai Expo. And that this, and the fact that one of their private enterprises, CCCR, I think it's called, is now engaged in building the infrastructure, not just pumping and taking Venezuelan oil, but actually developing something like 500 fields they're planning to do, a major operation. But maybe we ought to understand this correction to the imperial view as about a move away from the formality of before, where it was, we have the bigger army and you don't. You have to do what we say, to something rather different, because the threat is not necessarily military now in the old conventional sense, because first of all, military tactics have been upended with missiles and drones and things. But secondly, and Europe and America are not ready for that, they're not prepared for it. But secondly, it is really because of the sort of penetration of a different order, of credit being given, of loans being given, of the building of ports, of railway lines, of infrastructure, of corridors. And that is an alternative economic structure to that of the Bretton Woods and the dollar hegemony. And I think what all those ships sitting off the Venezuelan coast are really saying to us is that this is the new doctrine of Trump. I'm not going to let it happen. Not on our territory, not on our patch, not in the Western Hemisphere. The Chinese are not going to be allowed to do it. So they're blocking Iranian, Chinese, Russian vessels, both from Venezuela, but also from Cuba, because Cuba is an ally of Venezuela, and they're trying to stop them. So ultimately, it is a new war of the systems, one system or an alternative system, of one political outlook, one economic architecture. And the war now, the imperial war, is not so much in having military bases everywhere, but preventing this insidious, as they see it, penetration of the different ideas about economics, about payment systems, about debt and credit, not only getting a foothold in Venezuela, but spreading across the whole of the South or the whole of Latin America. And that's what I think is worrying it, and the example elsewhere. So the question then comes, well, why is China doing this? Precisely for that reason, because look, it's saying, look, there is an alternative to the rest of the world. Look, there is an alternative economic where you're not going to be threatened with sanctions, where you're not going to be punished by the IMF, where you're not going to be attacked for what you do, and we're not going to have, you won't be subject to a financial system which, interest rates go up and then interest rates go down, and when they go up, Wall Street dives in and forces you to privatize your assets and it takes what it can from them. So this is a message, a big message to the rest of the world, saying, no, we're ready now to challenge your model, your vision of the future. We're challenging it. We're not going to accept your vision of the future. And it's a very powerful message. And this is what's going on in Venezuela. We'll have to see how it turns out. I mean, it's not clear at this. It may turn into a kinetic war. It may move from one level to another level. That's quite possible. But we are, I think it's signaling we're in a different war, a different type of, a different era, one which is not so much simply the classic answer of regime change, of a coup d'etat being mounted to bring our states into line with the United States interests and hegemony, but now one which is much more complicated because it is one between different visions of the world.